Hey guys, and welcome back to Coxie Tutorials and Gameplay. My name is Coxie and this is part 27 in our Unity 5 first person shooter tutorial series. Where we left off in part 26, we actually made the ammunition boxes for our 3 guns, and today what I thought we'd do is what we are going to do is we're going to make it so that we can actually switch between the 3 weapons when we are actually holding them in our inventory, and we can also play an animation as we switch between each one, and also play an animation when we pick the weapon up off the ground. And then once it's played that animation when you pick it up off the ground, it actually goes back into an idle animation, which we'll make as well. So I've already adjusted the weapon pickup script, which is what we need to do today, and I've also written this new script here called player switch weapons. But I'll show you guys how to adjust this one, and also I'll show you guys this script so that you can write that out and use it yourself as well. Alright, let's get started. So open up your FPS controller, open up your first person character, go to your minigun, and you can see that I've turned off the other 2 guns so that only the minigun is visible, so that we can work on this one quite easily. Okay. So select the gun that you would like to animate. In this case, for me, it's the minigun, and we'll do the animations first. So open up your animation window, make sure you are selected on the gun, as I just said before, it's important, and click the create the animation clip down here, and we'll do Minigun Idle first. And for Minigun Idle, we'll just go to add property, transform, and we'll just do position. I'm going to scroll backwards to make the animation window longer. It was only 1 second to start with. As you can see, when we chose the transform position, it put 2 keyframes at 0 and 2 keyframes at 1 second, and these keyframes are exactly the same as each other. So what I'm going to do is I'll left click on the keyframes at 1 second and drag them to 2 seconds, and then I will left click on 1 second and I will add the 2 keyframes there as well. And for these 2, we will just better look at this gun. Just might move it slightly up and to the right hand side a little bit. Don't move it too much because it will look like it's moved quite a bit, and it's moving quite fast, especially when it's a 2 second animation. Worse if it's a 1 second. So play that and you can see it's just slightly moving up and down to the top right and back. That'll be fine for me. You can do whatever you want for yours. Make sure you click off the record button there, and then click on the Minigun Idle and create a new clip, and minigun switch weapon. Okay, so for the switch weapon animation, we're going to use this one both for switching weapons and for picking weapons up off the ground. So again, make sure you are selected on the minigun, you should have been already, and then add a property, and the transform this time will just be rotation. Okay, so to start with, we'll come up here. I don't know which way that the axis on your model or gun is facing, but in my case I can change it to 90 on the Z and have it facing directly up in the air, and then back to 0. So that's good. Okay, that's all you need to do. So it'll start off as we pick it up in this position, and then as we pick it up, it'll put it back into the facing forward position. Okay, simple. Make sure you click off the record button there, go back to the project, and you'll see we have a minigun animator controller, the minigun idle animation, and the minigun switch weapons. As you can see, when you click on your animations, it says there's no model. You can actually just grab your minigun and drag it in if you want, and you can see the animations being played in there. The switch weapons one, we can play that. There you go. It's a nifty little trick if you didn't already know that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we'll actually do the animation controller. So double click and open that up, and it's actually added all the stuff for us already. So we're going to make that one a trigger, so we'll leave that there. The default animation is idle. I want to change this. We'll make right click in your state machine and create an empty state, and we'll just call this minigun empty. And if you right click on minigun empty and set layer as default, that will now be our default state, which is what I want. Okay, so up here you've got layers and parameters. We've done this before. Make sure you select it on parameters, and then click on this and do a trigger. Minigun switch weapon, and then make another one and make a bool, and we'll call this minigun idle. So from any state, right click and make a transition to minigun switch weapon, and then click on the transition and just make sure that the minigun switch weapon is selected. And from minigun empty down here, our default state, which is just our empty animation, has nothing in it, we're going to make a transition to minigun idle and then make a transition back to empty. From empty to idle, we want no exit time, and we want minigun idle to be true, and then coming back we want no exit time and minigun idle to be false. And then we just need a transition from switch weapon back to idle, and we'll have no exit time for that as well, and just make minigun idle true. Okay, so that should be fine for what we want. Go back into my scene. I'm just going to grab all these and I'll just drag them into where are we? There we go, into our animations folder, which is this one here. You do it on side here too, and we've already got our minigun animation set up. Well, I have, and I'll just drop them in there. Okay, so now we just get these scripts organized. So player scripts, I've got the player switch weapon and the weapon pickup, sorry, in player scripts. So I'll open up the weapon pickup first, and you can make the little changes to this one to start off with. Okay, so everything's the same in our variables apart from this here. So you just need to add these new booleans. The minigun in inventory, shotgun in inventory, and sniper in inventory, and set them all to false by default. These three booleans here, we could have actually set them to false by default as well. That would have been fine. I chose to set them false in the start function just to show you a different way of writing them. It is just more work for yourself doing it that way. When you know there should be false to start off with, you can just automatically set them to false if you would like. So these 4 lines of code, the minigun anim, that's our animator, reference to that. I haven't assigned the animator in start. I'm just going to drag and drop that in, which I'll show you. So for the minigun animator there, if you click on your first person controller, you should have the weapon pickup script attached to that, and all you do is you can just simply drag the minigun, which has the animator attached, and drag it into that slot there. And we'll go back to the script. So the function starts exactly the same, and then we get down to our first on trigger enter for the minigun, and then we would make the minigun in inventory equal to true, which is our new boolean. This just lets Unity know that we actually have the minigun in our inventory now, and we will use this boolean in the switch weapon script, because we'll actually know that we have the minigun in our inventory, okay, once we've picked it up. So also I've just added these 2 lines of code, which are just the animations we just made in the animator controller, the set trigger minigun switch weapon, and the minigun anim.setBall minigun idle. So when we actually pick up the minigun, it's going to play the switch weapon animation first, which is the same one we're using for the switch weapon, and then it's going to play the idle animation after that. So that is fine. And then for the shotgun, I've just added the line and made the shotgun inventory the shotgun inventory boolean equal true. And for the sniper rifle, when we pick that up, we want Unity to know that we actually have that in our inventory as well. So that is really simple stuff, guys. And once you've done that, you can start on your player switch weapon script. Now this one here, as you can see, we have the variable weapons to switch. Weapons to switch. Don't actually think we will need that. No, don't worry about that one. I'll leave that out for now. Don't actually need that because we already have our array set up on the weapon pickup script for the weapon. So get rid of that array there, or just don't type it to start with. And then we just have our first variable, which is the weapon pickup script. So we can access the weapon pickup script and access these new booleans that we made there. What am I doing? This one. And then we have our minigun anim, which is the animator, and then we just make a reference to the weapon pickup script as the weapon pickup script. And we haven't actually, well, I haven't made a reference to the animator, but that's fine. I'll just drag that in as well. It's not a good practice to get into, like to manually, we're going to put the player switch weapon script on our first person controller, and it's not a good idea to be dragging things in like this all the time. You should actually try to do it all with code automatically, but that's how we'll do it for this one. So I'll just drag it in, that's fine. And then once we have made a reference to that, we go to the function update, and the first function I call is make sure only one weapon is visible, and that's self-explanatory. That's why I wrote it like that. It's just a failsafe to make sure that we only have one weapon visible per each button press. So if we had weapon 1, 2 and 3, and just say we were on weapon 1, which was the minigun, and we were just absolutely smashing the 2 and 3 keys and back to the 1 key really fast, it would probably glitch out. Well, it wouldn't probably, it would glitch out, and yeah, you'd probably have two guns displayed on the screen and all kinds of weird things. It still would be a little bit glitchy if you just smashed all the keys down, but this will make it a lot better. So I'll show you what this function or method is in a minute. Then also we just need to set up our input keys. So first one is if input get key down key code alpha 1. So if we press the number 1 on the keyboard and weapon pickup script minigun in inventory is true, so this that we just made, and when we pick up the minigun we set this to true. So if we're pressing 1, we should actually already have the minigun in our inventory, and then we can switch to the minigun. Okay, and then it's just the same for the number 2, but we set the the shotgun in inventory boolean has to be true, and for the press the number 3, the sniper in inventory boolean has to be true as well, and then it will switch to the sniper. So after that we have the function switch to minigun, and we are just setting the active state of the shotgun and the sniper rifle both to false. Then we're setting the minigun to active, and then we are going to play the switch weapon animation, and also after that the idle animation, and then we're just going to make sure that the minigun equip boolean in the weapon pickup script, make sure that these are actually set to what they're supposed to be set to, just in case. So we set the minigun to true obviously, and the other two to false, and then we just do the same for the shotgun. The only difference is we don't have animations for the shotgun, and this animation here goes for 1 second, so I made the delay time to wait to actually switch to the shotgun 1 second as well. So if you switch from the minigun to the shotgun, it'll take 1 second, and vice versa, because if you switch from the shotgun to the minigun, it's going to play the 1 second animation. And then all the rest is just self-explanatory. Just make sure you set the right ones to active and the right ones to false, and you'll be right. Just do it the same as that. And then we have the function for the sniper, which is exactly the same, with the true and falses swapped around so that the sniper is true and the rest are false. And then we have our failsafe, which is the function make sure only one weapon is visible, and we're just saying if weapon pickup script dot minigun equipped equals true, then we want to set the shotgun and the sniper rifle to false. If that condition isn't met, then it will go to this one here, and this is saying that we need to have the shotgun equipped equal to true, and it's going to set the other two to false. And then we just need an else statement, because if this condition and if this condition isn't met, then there can only be one other alternative, which would be that we actually have the sniper rifle, and we would set the other two to false. Okay, so that is the script. Go ahead and copy that down. It's not perfect by any means, but it should do the job. So go back into Unity. On your FPS controller, make sure you add the player switch weapons, and also make sure that you drag the minigun with the animator on it into the minigun anim slot, and don't forget that you had to do that for the weapon pickup script as well. Okay, so now if we play the game, I'll just maximize this. Okay, so you go and pick up the shotgun. If we pick up the minigun, it should automatically play the animation. Minigun switch weapon does not exist. Okie dokie. Let's check this out. Minigun switch weapon. So in our animator, Minigun. Okay. Minigun switch weapon. Okay, that's why I have to spell everything correctly. So get out of that and we'll go back into the game. Okay, try again. So pick up the shotgun, it should play the animation. It does. When we pick up the minigun, we can switch back to the shotgun by pressing 2. We'll have a 1-second delay. If we press 1 again, we should switch back to the minigun and it plays the animation. So 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, that works. And we'll pick up the sniper rifle and we'll switch back to the shotgun and the minigun, shotgun, sniper rifle. Okay. I'll mash the buttons like crazy. Oh shit, sorry, I just absolutely deafened myself. And did some unexpected things to Unity as well. Okay, so that's all working fine. So we can switch between the weapons. I'll mash the buttons and yeah, it doesn't glitch out too much. So that's pretty good. Alright. So guys, that is our weapon switching. You guys can go ahead and do the animations for the other two guns yourself. I would imagine that you should be able to do that now that I've showed you how to set up the minigun. Okay? Yeah, so thanks for watching the tutorial as always. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Okay guys, cheers.